We're here today to announce a mass opt-out campaign of the ISAT test that begins next week, March 3rd through March 14th. We have families at more than 25 schools that have turned in letters to say that their daughters and sons will not be taking the ISAT test.
I think we should opt out. I feel like it's such a stress and distracted test, and it's not the level I am actually in. It's a very pointless test if it's not going to determine what high school I go to and what level I am at. It is basically coming out of your tax money. We all want something better, and if it's not a test that's going to determine what high school I go to, we can use your tax money to put that money into the schools and books and put us into what level we actually need. My sister is a 3rd grader and is her first year taking the ISAT. She's very stressed and constantly studying and studying. She thinks she has to take it to order to see if she's going to pass the 4th grade.
In my hospital, every year we're seeing these spikes in right around testing time. We see our census just skyrocket, and we're seeing kids coming in sometimes directly from testing sessions. So these are kids that have a complete meltdown in the middle of a testing session. Just the stress, these kids think if I do badly, they're gonna retain me, and that's true in some cases, right? Schools do that. And these kids, I've heard instances of just having panic attacks, not being able to breathe, of throwing things, of becoming aggressive, having it brought to the principal's office and becoming aggressive there, and then just getting in an ambulance and coming to us in the hospital.
I'm a special ed student. My teacher is Ms. Chambers, and I have been taking this test for 5 years, and I have seen my peers struggling because they don't know the definition of the word, they can't read it, and it's just a hard test. And since my group is so big, we can't all test at once, and it takes at least 3 weeks to finish the test because we need time to finish it. I still think it's too much testing because I feel like I have taken at least 3 big tests like the ISATs for selective enrollment, Catholic, and military. And if they need a score to see if I can move on to the next level, they can focus on the test I took.
Over 80% of the schools that have been closed have a 90% or higher rate of having black students. All right. So again, I get into the history perspective, right? These tests were never meant for black and brown students to do well. Let's first just talk about the history of standardization. That was all from the eugenics movement. It was all about proving that black and brown people were inferior, right? So again, we shouldn't be surprised when black and brown students don't do well in these tests. They were never meant to do well in the first place.
They've got all these college graduates that are unemployed, so they don't really want more kids going to college. They need a whole bunch of kids to be in these minimum wage jobs, and or prisons, right, which also they make money off of, and but they won't admit that. They won't say that, oh, the purpose of education is to, continue the stratification of society and continue the class system. Otherwise, what they're doing makes no sense. Like, wait, you want to educate kids, but yet you don't want to spend time teaching them anything? You just want to give them tests, what's that about? Oh, actually, you don't really want to educate our kids.
Everyone should opt out, and my recommendation for all parents and students is, instead of us sitting down for a test that isn't going to tell us what level we're at, we can actually learn something and improve our level and improve what we need help on and improve on if we need to study more. And I feel like this ISAT, if it's not going to tell us none of that, why should we take it and learn something that we need help on? So, yeah.
People have been told, both parents and students, your child will not be able to apply for selective enrollment schools if they don't take the ISAT. That is not true. People have been told that their child will not be able to graduate from 8th grade if they don't take the ISAT. That is not true. People have been told that their kid will not be promoted to the next grade. That is not the case. The ISAT is not being used for promotion this year. People have also been told things, as crazy as if you move to another state and you haven't taken the ISAT, you won't be able to enroll in school. If you haven't taken the ISAT, you won't be able to take AP classes in high school. None of these things are the case. It is absolutely not true. This test will not count for anything. If your school will not lose funding if you don't take the ISAT. Your school will not lose funding if all the kids in your school do not take the ISAT. That is not something that's going to depend on people participating in this test.
We're so proud that yesterday Saucedo Elementary voted 100% of the teachers are going to commit civil disobedience. They are going to take a stand for justice. They're going to say we're not going to waste a week, 2 weeks on these standardized tests. We're actually going to have kids learn during that.
There you go. We've already had over 130 more opt-out letters just today.
Awesome.
And counting. So the opt-out letters keep coming in. I know the last report was 500. Our school's already at 450. So obviously, citywide, we're way past 500.
We have 5 people around the room who are going to take down your information before you come take material. So Sue is going to take people who are going to be on the far south and the Lake Calumet or the Rock Island networks. The southwest side, we have Maria Moreno over there, has 4 networks that she's got there.
We've been being contacted from all over the country. Minnesota, LA, New York. All these people are Facebooking, emailing, people are calling our school, our office, saying we support you. I mean, it's been insane. So very, very good. You know, our staff really appreciates that. That's kept morale very high. Overall with Saucedo, you know, we're still moving forward. A lot of people were asking, were you guys afraid today? How was it? Morale overall was very high. You know, we at first were worried if there would be network people, you know, coming in all our classrooms. And to be honest, there weren't. Okay, there weren't. We taught like how we normally do every day. And our students were very proud of us. There's a lot of kind of cheering and high-fiving. They're really excited that we stood up for them. So that was a good feeling.
Today we're here to tell you about what's happening in the schools where students are opting out. We're seeing some good things. We're seeing parents treated with respect. Their rights are respected. We've seen children treated with very basic kindness. But unfortunately, we're also seeing a lot of the opposite. We're seeing coercion. We're seeing lies. We're seeing intimidation. We're seeing maliciousness. And given these vast discrepancies, it is clear that there is no leadership at the top of this district, or frankly at the top of this state, that is providing enough direction about how principals and teachers should be treating students and families.
With my experience with this test, these last 2 days has been more of a bullying by our school. Up until Saturday, we opted our daughter out a week ago, and every day after that, we received text messages and phone calls asking us to reconsider. We didn't. Yesterday morning, when my daughter went to school, she was given a test booklet with her name and birth date, but we had told her we were not changing our mind. We were informed that she was given an option to give us a call to see, as of yesterday morning, if we would change our mind. When we didn't, and when she didn't call, after the test, her class was given treats, but her and the 2 other students in her class were told they couldn't have any because they didn't take the test. A few other classrooms where I found out today were also told the same thing. We were also informed today by several students, many students, that they were going to be having ice cream parties for the kids that took the test, and the kids who didn't take the test will have to sit there in the class and do work while these other kids had their little party.
So let's be very clear, you're hearing all these accounts of bullying of students by CPS, bullying of parents by CPS, bullying of teachers by CPS. Why is this occurring? Even in schools where we like our principals, we have good relationships with them. It is occurring because our CPS is controlled by Mayor Rahm Emanuel, and he is a bully. At my school, you know, this did occur before today. There's robocalls every single day, parents getting called into the office, letters sent home with misinformation, and luckily, today was a victory. I'm very, very happy to say today was a victory. Overall, it went smoothly. So the kids who are opting out, had the test placed in front of them, and then they're immediately removed to an opt-out room where teachers who are refusing to give the tests, the boycotting teachers, we're able to teach them.
My name is Anthony Velasquez. I found the test really easy, but I'd rather be learning new things in class and then we're taking another test called the NWEA, and I feel like it takes up more time of our academic curriculum.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Anthony. What would you rather be learning?
I'd rather be learning like new types of math or like more science rather than taking tests.
So the kids who are opting out, they're had the test placed in front of them, and then they're immediately removed to an opt-out room where teachers who are refusing to give the tests, the boycotting teachers, we're able to teach them. We're able to teach them about Rosa Parks, about math, about algebra, and carry on with our normal teaching day. And the kids weren't stressed out. The kids were happy. They're engaged in activities that they enjoy. So really at Saucedo, it was a victory. I would say a victory for all of us, for the parents, the students, and the teachers.
Okay, here we are. We're over at the Network 7 offices. We want to send a message to the network and also to Chicago Public Schools. We are teachers and we want to teach. Let us teach. Let us teach.
The CEO of CPS has told parents in writing twice that they have the right to opt out their children from any testing, including the ISAT. And now that we've seen in the last 2 weeks, parents attempting to exercise that right, they have been treated in many cases very badly, and students have been treated very badly, and it's not right. We need to make sure that this is codified in law in Illinois, because in other states it's absolutely written down that parents can opt out even from state mandated accountability testing, and the confusion here in Illinois has led to, frankly, what is just absolute abuse of children and intimidation and coercion and lies to parents.
I'm Thomas Tully. I'm a longtime teacher and community activist. I'm active in the union. What we're saying is that the ISAT being given its last year, everybody acknowledges it's the last year of ISAT, to take 8 almost consecutive 2 4-day weeks for all instructional time and devote that to a test that's being phased out, that is not used for anything, does not weigh the student's achievement, does not evaluate the teacher's performance, does not be used to grade even the schools involved in the testing, is a waste of student time. That the teachers can prepare lessons that will be more valuable to the students for that investment of time.
Let teachers teach! Let students learn!
We will no longer let Barbara Byrd Bennett and Mayor Rahm Emanuel continue to underestimate and undermine the parents and the teachers. At this point, our children comes first. We will not allow them to continue to use them as numbers. The ISAT will be discontinued this year. It means nothing. The reason that I believe that they're giving these tests at this particular point is to determine how much more funding they will take from schools and how they will continue to close more of our inner city schools.
Hey, we're no fools over testing Rule 92.
If your mission as CEO of the Chicago Public Schools, or if your mission as a network chief is to turn over regular neighborhood schools into charter schools, for example, as they've been doing with aplomb for the last 15 years. If that's your mission, one way that you can do it is by justifying academically that these schools are failing. And what you need to do is find the metric, find the test that demonstrates that kids are failing. So these guys aren't going to stop until they find the metric, until they find the standardized test that comes up with the data that they're looking for, namely that Chicago Public Schools are failing and that they need to be closed and teachers need to be fired and they need to be turned into charter schools.
Standardized testing like IQ tests came out of the eugenics movement. These were the people, and they believed intelligence was genetic and that whites were biologically superior. And standardized tests rarely improve teaching and learning. They sort and they rank children into first and second class citizens, and this is not right. Now, I had to point out I'm not representing the views of every single teacher and parent at my school. But when the opt-out letters started flooding in the first day of ISAT, I felt vindicated because by the first day, we had 2/3 of our students not sitting for the exam. And at this point in time, we have 73% of our students not taking the ISAT. They told me that I was only supposed to supervise silent reading, and I have been teaching. And I'm going to tell you how. So the students and I have to hide in the trenches in the library behind some tall bookshelves reading stories about Cesar Chavez, Rosa Parks, and other law-breaking heroes. And one of my students stands guard watching to make sure no administrator catches us teaching and learning.
ISAT has taken time away from instruction, so I'm taking that time back. I am teaching in the classroom. I am in a holding cell, but I am teaching. And I am teaching about Cesar Chavez. And I am teaching. When was it a crime to just want to teach? I got into this profession because I wanted to teach. I wanted to impart knowledge. Let me impart knowledge. Don't penalize me or my coworkers for wanting to teach. Thank you.
No teacher should be disciplined for teaching for CPS. And we're gonna, so it's on this big foam board.
My 3 parents is gonna walk this ladder. If they let them in, a pledge to the parents, students, and teachers of Chicago. I pledge to respect parents' rights to opt out of testing. I pledge to treat all students equally and not tolerate any more punishment against children who did not take the ISAT. I pledge to respect teachers' right to free speech and their actions to stand against the misuse of standardized testings. No teachers should be disciplined for teaching, right? That's right. This is for CPS, Teresa, Panicia, Chief of Network 7. We're gonna hope this young lady comes out and sign this because everyone's head is about to roll. Teresa,